the majority of these people are not selling their guns back to the government. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Genuinely.
No. I'm going to get a 3D printer.
But I think it's really interesting what they identified as the issues being in America.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the issues we're facing have to do with government increasingly getting larger and larger and larger over the past several decades, which led to our parents being very wealthy and enjoying all of the spoils. And now our generation suffering consequences because of overspending, overtaxation, and overregulation.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Indoctrination. I'm your co-host Olivia.
And I'm Maggie.
And today I'm going to begin by complaining that we are no longer in studio. Not only are we no longer in studio, I am hundreds and hundreds of miles away. And not only that, but we are actually going to basically re-record one of the topics that was supposed to already be done and finished with, that we already filmed in studio, but there was an audio problem. So we're trying again, but we're switching it up. So we're going to keep it new and fresh.
And you guys, it was such a good episode. And then our producer messaged me and was like, hey, this audio, it's unusable. And I was like, no. So yeah. And it is really sad. Olivia was in Atlanta all last week and I had so much fun. I don't know if Olivia had as much fun as I did.
I had a blast, dude. It was fun.
I drink Starbucks every single day, and now I have a problem. Yesterday, I like an addict went to Starbucks and got a matcha latte in memory of Olivia and I and our Starbucks trips all of last week.
Oh my God. Every day we got either a pumpkin spice something, a apple cream. We got all the fall flavors and then we did matcha because matcha is my thing. And we were standing and we even went to Target together and went to the Starbucks and the Target. Do you guys understand like the psychology of that? This is girl economics. We also got our nails done together.
We did.
We did a lot of girl economics.
We did. I spent a lot of money last week.
It's okay.
It's okay. Buying dinners and shopping and whatever. But that's okay because we had a great start to Christian Girl Autumn. Okay. As you can see, I'm wearing my turtleneck. I got this at a thrift store, believe it or not, like maybe 2 years ago. It's one of my favorite thrift store purchases of all time. So I'm very excited to be wearing it now that it's freezing in Atlanta. How's it up in DC?
Cold.
Yeah.
It's so cold.
So
I stepped outside to smoke at like midnight last night. It was like 40 degrees and I could see my breath. I was like, is that my breath or smoke? It was bad.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess, this is a cozy episode. We're all bundled up. We look so warm right now, which is kind of nice because this episode will be coming out right before Halloween. So it's also a spooky episode. So for you at home watching, bundle up. Grab a sweater, grab a blanket, grab some nice warm apple cider or tea.
Some Halloween candy.
Or a matcha latte in memory of us. And we are going to be reading. Yes. We're ghosts, actually, for the Halloween episode. That's what we are right now. You can't tell, but as you can see, I'm getting lighter. This is my ghostly complexion.
Dude,
for the winter. And we're going to read some Reddit posts with you guys. So Reddit is probably one of the spookiest places on the internet. Olivia and I and my roommate, like, we're just scrolling, digging through the trenches of Reddit last week, reading the most unbelievable stories. We might not read the unbelievable stories this time around, but we'll read some pretty ridiculous ones. We like to scroll through r/advice. the Am I the A-hole subreddit. I love that one. I found
Anti-work is a good one.
Yeah, anti-work
for
is a
bad
good
econ
one.
takes. There's a lot, guys. But yeah, it is one of the spookiest places on planet Earth, I think. I mean, I think my favorite one is anti-work just because it's so nice to like dispel these kind of fallacies and rumors on the podcast and to just talk about econ because I like talking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my favorite one was, I'm gonna just go ahead and read it.
Okay, perfect.
I really want to get into it because
let's dive right in.
By the way, guys, this one has over 6,000 upvotes. It's weird to me that there isn't a migration crisis of Americans trying to leave the USA, considering how bad things are for so many of them at the moment. Deep breath.
Where?
First of all, where are we gonna go?
Yeah. Sorry. Things might be not the best for us right now, but it's like significantly worse for everyone else. So
just wait until wait and see what they say where we should go.
What they think the problems we're encountering are.
Yeah, wait till you hear where they think we should go. So in other countries, when people have their rights stripped away or they're surrounded by violence or just can't afford to survive, they seek refuge and asylum in other safe countries that will look after them. Meanwhile, Americans have lost their bodily autonomy, are dying in school shootings, and being bankrupted in hospitals. Are they too proud of their homeland to leave it all for Europe or even just try to sneak into Canada? Dun, dun, dun.
No, because it's worse there. It's worse there. And I'm curious as to what they mean by bodily autonomy.
You know what they mean.
I would guess that they mean abortion, which that's a whole subject we don't need to get into. I would say maybe there's a point about the bodily autonomy thing when it comes to, I don't know if YouTube censors this word, the V word, the shots, the jabs.
Yeah, we can say jabs.
Yeah. And how a lot of people had to carry around vaccine cards. I actually have a funny story about the vaccine cards. Don't hate me. Don't come for me. I got 2 Pfizer shots.
Oh!
And I know.
Oh!
It made me sick as a dog. Yeah, the health complications or implications are yet to be seen. Who knows? But I lost my vaccine card like immediately after getting them. And I've never had to use it. But the problem is all of these things are so much worse in other countries. Maybe not the school shootings, but I'm sorry, when you put an armed populace together with like gun-free zones, that just doesn't work, you know?
Yeah.
Like everywhere, if you have guns in the country, which I think you should, we just saw the reason why in Israel as people were dragged out of their homes because they were unarmed. If you have guns in your country, logically, you shouldn't have gun-free zones where you essentially have groups of sitting ducks, right?
That's what these people don't understand. They think that UK laws can be applied to America. Guess what the issues you have in the UK are? You have like knife crime is up, way up. You have people throwing acid on people driving trucks into crowds of people. If a terrorist is going to be a terrorist, they're going to find a way to do that. They're going to figure it out.
They're going to figure it out. And with the amount of guns in the United States, I'm sorry, y'all. The majority of these people are not selling their guns back to the government. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Genuinely.
No. I'm going to get a 3D printer.
But I think it's really interesting what they identified as the issues being in America. Because a lot of the issues we're facing have to do with government increasingly getting larger and larger and larger over the past several decades, which led to our parents being very wealthy and enjoying all of the spoils. And now our generation suffering consequences because of overspending, overtaxation, and overregulation. So I don't know of any countries that I would rather live in right now because everywhere else has those exact same problems.
And these people, again, are period. And they're just assuming that all these other countries would want to take in a bunch of Americans and provide them social services like cheaper or free healthcare like they do
Argentina
in the UK
will.
or Canada. Let's all go. You know what? I'll learn how to speak Spanish because I just want to at least just test it out. I just want to test it out. This next one is posted to advice. Okay, so this is 5 days ago. This one was kind of a little bit sad, but they asked for advice, so we're going to go ahead and answer it. Title: I don't want to go to college anymore. I, 25 male, have been going to college for the past 7 years and have only been able to get my associate's degree. I hate going to school. I'm so tired of it and I'm just unhappy going now, but I'm being pressured to keep going even though I feel like there's no point now and I'm so unhappy. My mom gets really mad, upset, and disappointed each time I tell her I don't want to go again and just tells me to just keep going. I feel that my opinion and feelings and wants are being dismissed. I know that I can make my own decision to quit anytime, but don't want to be looked down upon by my mom and other family and friends. Does anyone have any advice to tell my mom how I feel so I don't feel pressured anymore?
I feel like so many people are in this exact same situation.
Yerp.
Exact same situation, which is why I wanted to talk about this specific Reddit post. Because I've known people in this exact same situation. And my advice, if you've been in school for 7 years and only have your 2-year degree, babe, take that 2-year degree and get out. Like, it's time to go, you know? It's time to skedaddle on out of school because it seems like this is not meant for you. You know,
for whatever reason,
we don't even
know the context behind this, but it just seems like you're having a really, really rough time. Cut your losses here because you got the 2-year degree. Don't spend 10 more years in school getting your bachelor's or graduate's degree. Like, just don't.
Right, and this will come up in a future post, but he didn't even mention being close to getting his bachelor's. If he was super close to getting his bachelor's, I would say stay. But it seems like he's just been failing and repeating courses for several years because he's worried about disappointing his mom. And his mom is probably just worried about his future. So you're in a lose-lose situation here if school is not meant for you and it's very obviously not meant for you. You need to go out and figure out what is meant for you, basically.
And bring that to your mom.
Yeah, your mom is just concerned that you're gonna be a bum, basically. Like, she's concerned that you're not gonna get a good job in the future or have a career or have a wife and children and a family. Like, that's actually her concern. I would say after 7 years of you being in school, I think that's probably the main concern for her. And so take some time, do some digging, and figure out what it is that would actually light your fire and what your vocation, your calling is. Because clearly, after 7 years, it's not being in school, getting your bachelor's. I'm so sorry to say. I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to be rude, but like it's clearly not working out. Like, we are like, this is like a hamster wheel, you know, we just keep running, but we're not making any ground. So I would skedaddle.
And that's the
in my
real
opinion. Yeah.
That's the real, because just cut your losses right now, dude. In terms of advice on what to say to your mom, do what Maggie said. Find what you are meant to do. And maybe that takes a week, maybe that takes a year. But I would say, in order for your mom to kind of get off of your back, because it just sounds like, I mean, it doesn't sound like she is not justified in trying to tell you to stick with it necessarily. She just probably has this idea of a plan for your life that maybe you don't have anymore, but you need to find a way to verbalize that. You need to give her an alternative. If it's not school, then give her an alternative, whether that be a business, whether that be some type of project you come up with. You just have to be productive. And so
find a goal that you have autonomy in choosing. Otherwise, you're not going to get any satisfaction from achieving that goal. Like, we don't have to struggle for food and shelter. I mean, some of us do, but it's less of a struggle now that we're not hunter-gatherers. But like, our brain, and we're like searching for those opportunities to have a struggle, to pick our struggle, to fight a little hard to achieve it and then actually achieve it. So if you don't have autonomy in that process and it's not something you want to do, you're going to feel sick and depressed and discouraged, and you're going to hate your life. Like, that's just how it is. So clearly, college is not it. I went to just go pull up this other Reddit post I was talking about, and it's been deleted. So quick recap.
So the same guy, it was the same guy that posted that?
No, this was the art degree one. I'll like summarize it from memory. But essentially this girl or guy was in college and it was their last year trying to get an art degree, and they realize the degree is useless, but they're in their last year or last semester.
And they hate it.
And they're like, I'm just going to drop out. No. And take back everything I just said. If you're that close to the finish line, just get the degree.
But
Just
for
do
context, guys, they said they hated it. They don't show up for class. They're depressed.
Yeah.
So when we did talk about it, I was a little bit more on the side of cut your losses here. Maggie, I remember you brought up sunken costs, and that was a valid argument. I thought, I don't even think it was necessarily a fallacy, because if you're on your last semester, I understand just wanting to be like, dude, suck it up. But I think there was something to be said for not only do they hate it and they're severely depressed doing it, but they recognize it's now a useless degree. But on the other side of that, there are a lot of jobs out there that just require a 4-year degree, and this is
they don't care what it is.
This is what's so stupid about the concept of a 4-year degree, anyways, in the first place, because a lot of jobs don't care what it is as long as you say you went to school for 4 years.
It's the new high school diploma.
There are a lot of places like that. Yeah, there are a lot of places like that. So a lot of places you just need that. So you can find something. I hope.
Yeah, you can find something.
It just won't be in art.
Speaking about like the depressed, missing classes stuff. Again, you no longer feel passionate about your degree. You're right there. You're right at the finish line. Like, I would say just finish it. But also, when you're depressed, you start to let things fall and you start to lose interest in things that once excited you. That might be a factor, and you no longer feeling excited about the degree. But genuinely, the only way to start rebuilding your life is simply by like doing small things that are genuinely self-care practices, like walking, leaving the house, cooking yourself a meal, washing your face before you go to bed. It all seems really stupid, but if you can do those basic things, it opens up your energy a lot more to the other things that you need to get done, or things that would bring even more energy to you, like hanging out with people. And I mean, medication is an option, but I would just try the lifestyle stuff first, you know?
People get really mad when you say that, but
yeah, it's
a good portion of your lifestyle. It's a good portion of your sleep habits, your eating habits, if you're hydrated or not, if your social life. And I'm definitely like a case study to be had in a mindset change if you start to change those things about yourself.
Absolutely. Go do yoga.
You're such a big yoga propagandist.
Listen, I was not feeling great. Went to a class. I was like, I feel a little better. And then I kept going like every day until I felt a lot better.
Hey,
and
I believe you.
It's been spacing out now, but like I genuinely, I'm going to recommend it to everyone all the time. Like mindfulness, meditation, and like the mind-body connection is so good. Awesome. Either way, I did want to get back to the anti-work subreddit. By the way, Olivia, do you remember when the moderator for anti-work, that subreddit, went on, what was it, Fox News, and looked like a whole mess? That was embarrassing.
I want to pull up the picture real quick.
Embarrassing. I feel bad for this guy. He was getting clowned on for his appearance, but I will say it's like genuinely the archetype you would think of people who are against work. Yeah.
Isn't this a woman? I can't tell. Their name is Doreen.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah. Yeah, that was rough.
But just so people know what anti-work is, on their subreddit, their description reads, a subreddit for those who want to end work, are curious about ending work, want to get the most out of a work-free life, want more information on anti-work ideas, and want personal help with their own jobs and work-related struggles. This sub has almost 3 million members. It's at 2.8. And right now, as I look at it, there's nearly 10,000 people live in the subreddit. So this is a very popular one.
They're all at work on anti-work. I'll go ahead and read this post. I think you put this in here. It starts off with the title, F Billionaires. They didn't censor themselves. I did. Yeah. You're welcome. Family friendly. It's Christian Girl Autumn. Yeah, we don't swear. I just saw a post about how millionaires and billionaires paid 91% effective tax rate in the 1960s, and today they pay near zero. Lie. There's no way that's true. There's no way that's true. That's ridiculous. Anyway, he saw a post. He saw a post about this.
And a lot of people confuse income tax. A lot of people confuse income tax with paying taxes. Dude, if a billionaire buys a piece of gum at the store, they're paying tax. Everybody pays sales tax.
Yes.
People pay property tax. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of tax that goes into with conducting business. So if you don't think that Microsoft or Amazon pays any taxes, I know we talk about, where they're giving the billionaires tax breaks. There is truth to that. But there is nobody who pays zero tax.
Exactly.
Even if you are below the poverty line, you pay a tax when you buy something from the store. You pay sales tax.
Also, a lot of the ways people deduct from their taxes is through charitable contributions. So, yeah. Anyways, I've heard arguments from the media and wealthy people trying to explain why they can't or shouldn't be taxed on assets like stocks since they can go both up and down in value. Then they tax-free loans. Then they take tax-free loans against those stocks to get around selling them as a taxable event. The thing is, a lot of Americans are taxed the way everyone says billionaires can't be. Homes are assets that can go up or down in value, yet they are taxed every year based on their current assessed value. Stocks have expense ratios that are percentages paid to the fund manager yearly based on the current value of the stocks. What is stopping Congress from doing something similar to assets held by billionaires so they can pay their fair share?
He's making good points, but he's just came to the wrong conclusion.
He came to the wrong conclusion. The conclusion should not be that we start taxing billionaires more. Goodbye, America, if we chase billionaires out of the country so that they can go to a tax haven elsewhere. Goodbye, America. Just kiss that goodbye. But also, people in lower and middle class homes should not be taxed this much either. Like, you're right. The tax burden is nauseating, but that doesn't mean that we then go hurt other people and steal their money. Like, you're right to feel upset about disparity and being taxed, but maybe extend that to everyone. And this idea of fair share of what, babe? Fair share of what? Do you know where our tax dollars go?
They don't. And I think
do you know what you're funding? I don't want to pay my fair share. I would like to opt out. I have no choice, though. It's forcibly removed from me. I go to jail if I don't pay my fair share of egregious, inconceivable things that our tax dollars fund. So, F anti-work. That's my title. My gosh.
That's a little edgy, Maggie. I know.
Oh, I need to calm down. Sorry.
Guys, calm down. But no, that's so real. And I think that's part of and I hate to say it, the dehumanization of billionaires. Before you guys come for me talking about, well, they don't care about us, they don't care about you, da-da-da-da-da. We made this point in the first episode that we recorded, but on that little submersible that imploded and everybody was like, oh my God, that's what billionaires get. Would they say the same thing? And if it was Rihanna, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Taylor Swift? No, because we relate to these people. We see them as human beings.
We like the things they produce.
We can see the direct entertainment value on certain people's lives. For some reason, Jeff Bezos providing jobs for thousands and thousands of people, convenience for millions of people in the form of Amazon and their other products. We don't value that the same way, even though personally, Amazon has had a higher impact on my life than like Jay-Z's music. even
Yeah.
if I'm a fan of both, you
For
know, just
sure.
objectively speaking, or like Bill Gates. And we can talk about Bill Gates and like the morals of these personal individual billionaires in a later episode, because I would actually love to dig into that, because I have some stuff to say about Oprah too. But we can definitively
I'm so curious,
say,
actually.
don't get me started. But yeah, we will do an episode about that. It involves Maui. Okay, it's a little tin hat moment. But don't get me off track now, because I'll go crazy. But but it just kind of like, this whole narrative makes sense to me when I realize that people don't view billionaires as humans because they're super jealous. But you can definitively say that a lot of these billionaires have had a positive impact on your life, whether it's directly or indirectly. So for you to say F billionaires, you clearly don't want them to be here, and they're going to go somewhere else. They're not going to cease to exist. They're going to go out of America. So you're just going to make another country richer. So if that's what you want to do, then just acknowledge that that's what you want to do.
Have at it. Envy is freaking evil, dude. That's why all these people are sitting on r/anti-work as a subreddit complaining about rich people all day. Like, that's what you're doing with your day.
Yeah.
This is why you will not be wealthy. No offense. Another post from r/anti-work. Our local AM radio host showed me today that conservatives are against the $15 minimum wage as they believe in the caste system.
Oh, okay. So that's why.
They do not want poor people to be on equal footing against the rich, and it's the only reason why they are against it. Do I need to read this entire that was just the title. That was just the title, y'all.
So
that was,
long?
oh my gosh. Learn to edit. This morning I was listening to our local host ranting and raving about servers in New Jersey wanting to make $15 an hour plus tips. My first thought was, dude, you are a radio host who makes way more money than me. Doubt that. Doing almost absolutely nothing but talk about politics. There's another fallacy that we can debunk. Okay, there's a lot here. Secondly, he knows very little about business. I immediately changed the station after he start talking about $15 wage hurt business. Okay. Wow.
First of all, he's speaking like caveman language
what
right
are we
now.
doing?
$15 minimum wage hurt business? Question mark, question mark. Okay.
Yeah. The $15 wage isn't enough to live off from these days. You might be able to live off that in red states like Florida. In a blue state like New Jersey, $15 is barely enough to buy food for a day.
See the cell phone? You see the cell phone? They're like, yeah, you may be able to get by being poor and broke in dirty ghetto red states like Florida, but here in uppity New Jersey, we need more help from the government to get by.
Oh my gosh. Regardless,
would you look at that?
A blue state, aren't they supposed to be helping people, Olivia? Aren't blue states supposed to be better for poor people? Huh.
You would think.
Huh.
You would think. No,
I'm
I heard
confused.
nobody likes Florida, and I heard everybody hates it there. So.
I'm being so sassy today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Regardless,
I love it.
Regardless of where you live, people need to make at least 20 an hour. So now we're going up to a new arbitrary number. Okay. Conservatives know that, but they don't care. Conservatives believe in the Indian caste system, that once a person is born poor, they are meant to stay there forever.
By the way, guys, this person doesn't know the difference between there, and there. They're speaking caveman talk. They speak like Kevin from The Office. They're saying, why use many word when few word do trick? They're like, $15 min wage hurt business.
Hurt business.
Yeah, they're being
They believe
stupid.
in Indian caste system. Born poor, stay poor.
You got me. I love the Indian caste system.
I love the Indian caste system. That's why.
You got me.
That's why
and you
we
can
live
tell
there.
this person, and you can tell this person is an Indian, because an Indian person will tell you that the economic system in the U.S., where we have a high level of mobility compared to other countries, is nothing like the Indian caste system, where there is a designation, a class of people that are literally untouchable, as in you cannot touch them or you are dirty like them. Like, you cannot be around them. You cannot breathe the same air as them. They are the permanently servant poverty class.
Crazy. I said this on the first filming of this, but a really funny story for my audience. When I was in 6th grade, I was being relentlessly bullied by like my entire school. It was really bad. Like no exaggeration. And
Wow.
I learned about the Indian caste system in my history class. And me, 12-year-old Maggie, was like, wow, this school functions just like the caste system. Like there's such a hierarchy here. So I'm curious as to how old this poster is, because this seems to me like the same aged brain, like making this connection.
If you had said that to me, I would have bullied you too, low key.
Huh?
If you had said that to me, I would have bullied you too.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I was reading about it in class. I was like, wow, this looks really familiar. Y'all are treating me like I'm an untouchable. I was so annoying. I deserve to get bullied.
I actually love that. The cast. Okay, this post is so funny because you're sitting at anti-work. You're complaining that some guy is getting paid for a job that he likes to do. Isn't that what you guys want? You want people to be making a livable wage doing something they want to do. I guarantee this guy would rather be a professional Mario Kart player or whatever. But he's like, dude, you are a radio host who makes way more money doing absolutely nothing but talk about politics.
Which I want to debunk this very obvious fallacy here. He says doing almost absolutely nothing but talk about politics, but you make more money than I do. That's because what he does is specialized. It's specialized and people want to listen to him. So you working in a restaurant, that's amazing. If you're great at your job, you'll make a lot in tips. I would know. I used to work service and I was great at getting tips because I was nice to people. But it's not like a very skilled job. Like you don't need to have a lot of qualifications coming in. You don't need to have extensive work history or build up to that as a career. You can pretty much just go in, and if you have a good personality, you can get the job. So that is why he's getting paid more than you. The labor theory of value is, you can throw it out the window. It doesn't matter how much actual physical labor he is doing if the product he is producing is making more money than the product you're producing. That is why he's making more money.
Sassy Maggie should be here to stay.
I need to relax.
Oh my
it's one of those days. Oh my God, not the plant.
Not the plant. But you're absolutely right. It's about the value of labor. And can we just also dispel the rumor that somebody who maybe have a radio show just sits and talks about politics? There's other stuff that goes into this job because people will say the same thing to me. You're just grifting off of politics and you're overpaid. Because when I was talking about the $20 minimum wage on Twitter the other day, somebody said, well, I know you're definitely overpaid. You're free to think that. It's completely subjective. It's based on the market.
Yeah.
We talked about how the market is based on vibes. Apparently people value my words and my opinions enough to pay me for it. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You don't think so? That's cool. That's on you. But you can't complain that nobody wants to pay you to flip burgers for $20 an hour because there's just like, it's very replaceable. It doesn't require skill.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. Also, digging in a little bit more into this red state versus blue state. The reason red states are affordable is because they don't do these artificial manipulations within the economy like blue states do. There are less regulations, less taxes. They're not, berating business owners and penalizing them for employing people like blue states do, which is what you're advocating for here. Like you're advocating for your labor to become more expensive to your employer. And you can go watch our minimum wage episode. It's already out. But we break down why that actually puts poor people at a disadvantage. So no, actually not just a disadvantage, it makes people unemployable when you raise the minimum wage that high, because some people have no experience and don't have a lot of skills at all, and people don't want to hire them for that much money. So what it does is it creates a genuine underclass of people who have no job. That's horrible. That is a problem. And let's say you increase it to this, at least $20 an hour. Because you decided to go up in how much you were asking for within one post, which is what these people do every time. Let's say you do make it $20 an hour. The pay, like the rate at which you pay for things, yeah, those are going to increase too. This is how inflation happens. So you need to really consider for a second what you're really asking for.
They won't. They won't. But I found another one about careers and jobs that I thought was interesting. And also, this one was also deleted, but I took a screenshot of it before they took it down because I'm a smarticle particle. So I just really wanted to get into this one because I remember having a strong opinion. We all had strong opinions about this one last week. So I'm just going to read it. Children hold women back in their careers. This is on r/off my chest. So it's basically like a confession subreddit. People post their unpopular opinions and just like whatever thoughts they have. Mm-hmm. I really like it for the tea and the drama. I feel like people don't talk about this enough, perhaps because it's a sensitive topic. Before I realized being child-free was even an option, I dreaded the thought of inevitably becoming a mother and having to give up my career so I could be more involved with my future kid's life. Even though things have changed a lot since the 50s, women still overwhelmingly bear the burden of child rearing. Statistics show that 4 out of every 5 stay-at-home parents are moms. Spending more time taking care of the kids means less time spent at the office and consequently not being seen as proficient, dedicated, or passionate. Hence, they get passed over for promotions and career opportunities. There was even research that showed that the wage differences between men and women peaked during their stereotypical childbearing and child-raising years, so 20s and 30s, but decreased dramatically around the time that the kids are grown and out of the house, late 40s and 50s. Makes you wonder how many brilliant women we missed out in history because they were chained to motherhood. I love chained. So dramatic, right?
So
chained
dramatic.
to motherhood.
I think it's great that we can work, but not everybody wants to work. Not to sound like an anti-work.
I was about to say, are you anti-work now?
But like,
oh my God.
But like, there is a genuine argument to be made that some people's like purpose on this planet is to raise a family and like really throw themselves into that, especially if you're like homeschooling your children. That's a whole job. And
some lifestyles, you need a stay-at-home parent.
Yeah.
Know?
But you also need to marry someone who can, afford that lifestyle or make genuine sacrifices. It really depends. But I hate this idea that like we all have to agree as women on what we're doing with our lives. I really reject that because most of us are just going to fall somewhere in the middle. And it's not a crime against humanity for women to not work as long of hours as men when they're trying to raise children. I think that's fine. I think most of the time, women are more suited to childcare responsibilities and have a more natural inclination to want to do those things. And that's okay. I really hate this like condescending idea that women are chained to the home and that somehow spending all of their time in an office is what they would prefer to spending time with their children. For some women, that's true. Marry a house husband. I don't care, girl. Go do you. Work from home. I don't care. But this idea that like this is some travesty, it's not. It's a hard thing for women because now we are expected to work. So we're trying to figure out what the balance is, and that will always be a struggle for us. But ultimately, we're all going to do what we want to do. So
yeah, I do feel bad for this lady because she seems to have been fed the lie that a woman is not successful if she doesn't have a stereotypically successful career, because her last sentence really said it. Makes you wonder how many brilliant women we missed out in history because they were chained to motherhood. So we already talked about the word chained. It's used as a pejorative. Like chained to motherhood just sounds really icky to me. Imagine if your mom said that about you, and maybe this is like a mommy issues type of thing. We really don't know what prompted this too much, but imagine how many women we missed out in history is also a really crazy thing to say, because you can say that about, imagine how many brilliant people we missed out in history because so-and-so chose to have kids, chose not to have kids, whether they're a man or a woman. I mean, there's so many hypotheticals. You could say what if to anything. You can really say what if to anything. And I'm not saying that there are not women in history who were, I would say, chained to a subservient role, so to speak, because we know for sure that that definitely happened, and reproductive abuse has taken place before, where in order to forcefully keep a woman at home in olden golden days where this stuff was a lot more commonplace and a lot less illegal in certain places, that they would literally just keep her barefoot and pregnant just to basically have her as subservient to you. So we know that's for real. We know that's for truth. Now when we have our freedom and we have our rights and we can, I mean, so many women are on birth control. So many women have complete control, and we're talking about the West here, over their reproductive health and what they do with their bodies. It's just like, nobody is forcing you to be a mother, dude.
No.
You don't have to act like it's a chain.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting because there are so many men out there who talk about this exact feeling, not necessarily being chained to fatherhood, because I know very few men that would put it that way. But a lot of men talk about, you know, working long hours or even 2 or 3 jobs because their role as a man in society is to provide for the rest of your family. And that feels like a burden too.
Yeah. I think this is a great argument for individualism. Do what you want. Do what's going to fulfill you. Not everybody's called to motherhood. That's okay. And some people are called to motherhood, but their partners do more of the child care. And that's fine. That's completely fine. I also think once you hit a certain age, you stop caring what society thinks about your relationships and your family. And you just got to get to a place where you're comfortable being like, no, this is my decision. I've noticed that in my friends who are a little bit older than me. They seem to be so at peace with themselves and their decisions. And I think that's really nice. Like, I can't wait to get there. So we have some new ones too. This one is not that spicy, but I think it's a good advice piece. So we can give him some advice. And then the next 2 are a little crazy. Okay. This is from r/offmychest. This is a great subreddit. Highly recommend if you have some time to kill, just scroll. This user said, "Is this really what the average adult life is about?" Oh boy. I am 22 years old. I work 8 to 5 Monday to Friday in a corporate tech world engineering computer servers. I have noticed over the last few weeks my energy has been way low, and I have been leaving work feeling exhausted and ready for bed. Today, however, I started to dig deeper into my feelings and mental state. I realized that I spend most of my life either sleeping, working, doing other tasks, and then I get to enjoy what I like to do in life after I'm already mentally checked out. I really do not want my life to continue this trend until I'm however old to retire. I want to live my youthful years to their fullest right now, and I think it is interfering with having to be an adult. I am grateful that I have a stable income, a roof over my head, and food to eat every day, but I just can't shake the existential dread that my life is dwindling away inside of an office building working for someone else's profit. Anyone else feel this way?
I do relate to some of those feelings. I'm also 22. It sounds like this person is a little bit ahead in their career than certain other 22-year-olds. I mean, you're already working in corporate tech. That sounds like it's a decent job. And you say that you have a stable income, stable place to live, stable food sources. You're not going hungry. So this is all good stuff. I think part of that is finding out how to appreciate what you do have. And you don't necessarily sound ungrateful at all. That's not what I'm saying. But just learn how to internally feel really grateful and really happy for the things that you do have. And also realize that, yes, life is a grind. Yes, life isn't fair. You do have kind of at least the good end of it right now. It does sound really crazy to say, but even like the poorest people in America have a much better standard of life than the even middle-class people in so many other developing countries. So I like to be mindful, even if that doesn't make your situation directly better. It's really helpful to be mindful and do like purposeful, mindful exercises, because you said you took time to dig deep into why you were feeling that way. Okay, so let's dig deeper into that. And also, you have to prioritize yourself. So when it comes to other tasks that you didn't really say, what are those other tasks? Are you doing things you don't have to do? Are you doing emotional labor for people who are not beneficial in your life? Are your friends that you do get to see, are they fulfilling in your life? Because if you only get to see your friends like every Friday and Saturday night, and you go to work and you go to the grind every week, but these friends are not fulfilling or helpful or listening to you or beneficial to you in your life, I can see how that would be a drain.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Like, who are you spending that extra time with? Because I have moved several different places, and I have to say, like, the friends I have now, we do stuff together that like really pours into me, and I feel like I have so much more energy and so much positive inspiration around me, like people working on themselves and who have hobbies and all of that kind of stuff. And I loved your point about gratitude. Gratitude is super important. But yeah, when you feel that thing tugging at you, it's good to explore what it is, because it's signaling to you that something's missing or you're not doing something right. Like something's not lined up yet. And it sounds like you don't have time. You said right here, I get to enjoy what I like to do in life after I'm already mentally checked out. As you grow older, this is something they didn't teach us in school. You can't get an A in everything. One of my favorite YouTubers says that. You can't get an A in absolutely everything. You have to pick and choose where you spend your energy and your time. So maybe get an A in work, right? Like that's important to keep your job, to keep your income so that you can keep up the rest of your life. But also, it sounds like you're not pouring a lot of energy into stuff you like to do. You might not even know what you like to do. I know at 22 years old, I didn't know what I liked to do. Like I had totally lost touch with my hobbies, with what fulfilled me, all of that stuff. Like my work was my hobby because I've been in politics this whole time. And so, I was feeling that way too. And so I just started like exploring, like, okay, I like art sometimes, but I can't do art. I'm going to pick up this like painting thing, or I'm going to pick up this form of exercise that makes me feel good. And just start incorporating those into your life wherever you can. Another great analogy for this is like your battery. You start at 100% every day. If you don't get enough sleep, you don't start at 100%. You start at like 60. That's not good. Your battery is what powers you through all of these things throughout your day. And there's stuff where you have to expend your energy, like work, like trying to be there for someone, all these things. Maybe you get a flat tire. Those are major energy expenders. And so if you want to feel good throughout the day, you have to like figure out what are these like little things that you can do for yourself that raise your battery level. You can even assign points to it. I know lots of people like systems and stuff. So if it's going on a walk is going to give you 10%, go on a walk if you're not feeling great.
You want to say yoga so bad right now.
No. And
you want to say yoga is so bad right now.
Well, it's different for everyone.
I knew you wanted to say yoga as soon as you said, well, I got into painting and I got into, well, you can do some exercise. I knew you wanted to say yoga so bad because, guys, when I was there last week, you know what we did? We sat around and we painted, and it was very fulfilling to me. But Maggie will say in the beginning, because we were doing paint by numbers and mine was like a little bit complicated and like tiny little like paint strokes and stuff. And she looked over and I was like,
yeah, she was stressing
like, Olivia,
out.
Are you okay? And I was like, no. But then I finished it and I was like,
guys, it looks so good.
Again.
Olivia finished hers before anyone else did too.
And then I left it there. She was like, do you want to take this home? I was like, no, I just wanted to finish it. See,
yeah, we gotta
for
go
me, it was
buy,
about the process.
Yeah, we have to go buy you some new paint by numbers because like you absolutely killed that. And
Thank you.
She was so concentrated on it, you guys. But yeah, it's all about like finding stuff that you like to do. And that's hard when you're an adult because when you were a kid, a lot of the times you were told where to go and what to like. And then you were left less and less time for your actual hobbies, or, you fell out of them as a teenager. Like you had them at one point and then you fell out of them. Explore those. Like seriously, they give me so much joy and stamina through the rest of my life. Just like doing things that I like, taking care of myself feels awesome. So this is not all that adult life is about just working and then coming home and going to sleep. Definitely not. Like there's
this guy's
so
about
much
to go down the anti-work pipeline. I could feel it.
Yeah, maybe. And you're not working in an office building for someone else's profit. You're working so that you make the pay that you mutually agreed upon. But whatever. I'll let it slide.
That's too hard. I'll let
it slide. Okay.
I want to read the next one because I only really skimmed it. I looked at the title earlier and I was like, oh, this is going to be juicy. So I kind of saved it. So I kind of saved it for later. So I want this one to be like my first genuine reaction to it while I'm reading. Okay.
Right.
Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter-in-law she wasn't invited due to her weight? So that title hit me. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so juicy. So let's see if you're the a-hole.
Let's get into it.
You know, some of these people on this subreddit, they word their title in a very specific way to make you click it and be like, oh my God, this person's such the a-hole. But it turns out that maybe they're like a little bit justified. So yeah, let's see. We have done plenty of things that are not physically taxing with her, but even the small stuff, she ends up on the bench half the day. Went to a small mall, half the day on the bench. It was window shopping. She is obese. Her ankles are swollen from her weight. The connection between her weight and not walking far without a break is very obvious. I think that was an edit. Hold on. Okay, so it says post. I will try to keep this short. I have 3 girls and we still like to do girl trips for the day. My son got married to a girl named Beth. Okay, this is the backstory. Now, before her first kid, she was average weight, and after it got a lot worse. Her only kid is 8 years old at this point, and she hasn't lost the weight. It's bad enough that she needs constant breaks walking. I used to like her, and now I don't due to how she acts. Everywhere we go with her is constant complaining that she is tired. The last girls' trip to the mall was spent sitting on a bench half the day since she needed constant breaks. If you try to leave, she will go on about abandoning her. It's annoying. I invited the girls to go to a farm for pumpkin patch and pick some apples. It has big orchards and a ton of walking. We went, it was a great time, and some pictures went on Facebook. I got a call from Beth asking why she wasn't invited. I lied, saying it was just a family trip, and she accused me of lying. I had enough and told her the truth. I told her she wasn't invited due to her weight, that she forces us to stop all the time, and it ruins the trips most days since we don't get to do half the stuff. She called me a jerk and hung up. I'm getting a text from my mom saying to apologize, but the girls are on my side, and are sick of having trips ruined since we have to wait for her all the time. Okay, so the first chunk I read, the first 2 sentences were like the backstory saying that her ankles are swollen for a weight, and there's a connection between the weight and not walking very far without a break. Okay.
What do you think? The a-hole or not the a-hole?
I'm trying to put myself in both people's shoes because this is really frustrating. If you're walking with somebody whose ankles are too swollen to walk, yeah. And if you're really, really not hanging out with them because of their weight, I do think it's best to be honest. Maybe I wouldn't say weight if I'm trying to be nice. If I'm trying to be the nicest possible, I might say like your stamina. Which is like that's not the lie. You know, that's not a lie. That is the truth. Yeah. But I would say like, dude, you need breaks all the time. This is an outdoor, physically taxing event. You just don't have the stamina for it.
You wouldn't have enjoyed it.
Yeah, we didn't think you would like it. There's no benches here in the apple field and the apple orchard or
You'd
whatever.
Be picking
There's no
apples all day long.
So yeah, I'm saying not the a-hole. I would give you advice on how to handle it, maybe an itty bitty bit better, but that's just a rough conversation that you probably had to have at some point. So I'm saying not the a-hole.
Yeah, I loved this one because at first you're like, oh my gosh, you fat shamed your daughter-in-law. But it makes so much sense when you realize like what is happening here. Her weight is not a problem until it becomes other people's problem. Like that is the true issue here. If she was taking the constant breaks and then just letting people still do their thing, that's different, you know?
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's so
we
true.
Can work with that. If you are interrupting everybody's day, making them wait with you, cutting out half the activities, yeah, no wonder people don't want to invite you. Like, that's so selfish, in my opinion. I don't know. Am I the a-hole? I feel like it's super selfish.
Because let's say this person was disabled. Like their problem isn't that their ankles are swollen from being obese. It's that they're like in a wheelchair or something. First of all, I think that this person, is probably like in denial that they need mobility aids because you should be able to walk without sitting down for half the time. So whether this person needs like a walker, a wheelchair, it seems like they should address that. And maybe that should be a conversation with the family. But I think that the difference here is that it's about choice. You know, I think that while losing weight is really hard, and if you do get to that point, because I mean, I'm imagining like 600-pound life level if you're talking about some swollen feet and ankles. So it is hard, guys. I've been there. It is hard, but it is a choice. So somebody who's like in a wheelchair or something who actually like causes like I guess some breaks in the day, they're also not going to act like that too. They're not going to say, no, you have to sit here and just shame people for abandoning them. They're going to try to get accommodations and compromises here and there instead of just making everybody sit for like 6 hours. So
I feel like if your weight is such a source of shame, like it seems to be for this person, like it's time to start addressing it.
Yeah, because clearly it's a matter of fact thing. This person is just like super morbidly obese. The mother-in-law said it. She's like, you're a jerk. But if that's the truth, then
the truth is
if you can't handle the things that come with it, then lose the weight. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
Which
it sucks though.
Yeah, it sucks, but
I would have definitely handled it a little more tactfully as well.
I would have said like stamina or something.
I think that's a good point to make. But yeah, like you also like we have to be cognizant of how we're treating the people we're in social situations with. Like if we're causing huge disruptions, then that's on us for us to fix, not for them, you know?
Yeah.
Is that
also,
just me?
If you're not invited somewhere and the people who are invited are your mother-in-law and like your sister-in-laws, because it sounds like the mom was talking about the girls, like her biological daughters. Dude, don't ask, because maybe they did actually want a family day, and if you didn't believe it, it's still kind of none of your business because they're just
seems a little entitled.
You married into the family, so let's just stop being a little bit entitled here.
Yeah, I feel bad for her though. I hope she's okay.
I hope you're okay, girl. I hope you're
on your journey.
Yeah, I hope you're on your journey
and mobile. Do some yoga. It'll help with your ankles.
Oh my. Okay. Anyways, the last one you put in here, I actually read this morning and thought this was like so funny. And then I saw your text that you sent it to me.
Oh my gosh.
But am I the a-hole for asking an immigrant what country she is from and for being racist? This person, by the way, was labeled the a-hole by the subreddit. So I always take that into consideration because when I read it this morning, I literally didn't think it was that bad.
No.
But this person was labeled the a-hole. He has an a-hole like tag on this post that the moderators put.
Bruh,
So
that's horrible.
31 male, recently met Cassandra, 30 female through a mutual friend of mine. She's working at the same company as my friend and had moved to the US from another place. While talking, we started to hit it off, and then I eventually asked her what country she's from. She looked offended and said she could not answer that question. I asked her why and then joked about whether she doesn't know the answer to that question. She looked offended and said it was racist of me to ask for her home country, that it makes her uncomfortable as a newcomer to America if I ask her such questions. I told her she was being ridiculous, over the top over it, and that it was a perfectly harmless question. It resulted in her saying she doesn't want to talk to me anymore and distance herself from me. My friend said it was rude to me, but I don't understand what I had done wrong. But I worry that I did offend her somewhat and was out of order. Okay.
Girl.
It seems my only concern is the way he responded, I guess, saying like, oh, you don't know where you're from. And like, I understand it's a joke, but if somebody is already offended, that's going to offend them more, I guess. So he did nothing to make the situation better, but I also don't see what was so offensive in the first place.
What exactly about the question is offensive? I just want to know. Like every immigrant I've met loves to talk about where they're from. Okay. Loves it. Because it's a big thing about you, right? It encompasses where you were born, where you were raised. Like, you know, it's a cool thing to talk about, especially if you're just meeting someone. Like that is a topic of conversation when you first meet someone. I've traveled many places where I'm just meeting someone for the first time, and that is what we talk about. I tell them about Louisiana and like my family and all of that stuff, and they tell me about where they're from and their family. Like that is how you get to know people. I'm sorry, are we looking for things to be offended about?
So the people in the comments are basically, the reason they're saying that he's the a-hole, and they're pretty much all saying he's the a-hole, is because not really because of the first question, but because he followed up on it.
It's it's like a silly dad joke.
I see the point, but I think that I think that the other person is more the a-hole in the situation.
Man, I'm feeling sassy today.
If you don't want to talk about it, you could just lie. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or if like it's actually a sore subject for you, you can say, sorry, you didn't know. There's no way that you would know that I would not want to talk about it, but I just don't want to talk about it. Don't be like,
yeah,
and make the guy feel like he's racist.
How would he even know that it's a sore subject? I'm sorry. This is just like basic information about people, especially if they just moved to the US. They'll probably have a lot of things to say about their home country. And it's interesting. Like, it's good to learn about people and the places they're from. I'm sorry. I think this is so over the top. I cannot believe Reddit labeled him the a-hole. Am I just really insensitive? Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to think of why they would be so offended. Yeah. I'm just thinking, I don't
get it.
No, but listen, this is my theory. I swear, what if this guy comes back and makes another post or makes an edit and is like, guys, turns out I falsely assumed she was from another country. She's just a minority and I just asked her. Or she had a speech impediment. I thought it was an accent. What if he actually did offend her? That would be funny. So
that would be really funny.
If I was trying to justify her being offended, it would be like one of those reasons. Like, you just assumed you're from another country.
Yeah. I mean, it said she had moved to the US from another place though. So it's like, she just moved. I just, usually on indoctrination, I'm the one like, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what's gotten into me today.
You're sassy, Maggie.
Dude, feeling real sassy.
I'm trying to, when I was a kid, I literally thought my neighbor down the street was British for like years until I realized she had a speech impediment. So she was a couple years older than me.
Did she know that you thought that she was British?
No, I don't think so. I just mentioned it to my mom one day, and like, this is how stupid it was. Cause I was like, why does so-and-so talk with that accent? Like, her parents don't have that accent. Like, why does she sound British? But like, I just like, that was the first time I thought to ask about it, but I had just thought she was British for like years.
You heard it here. You heard it here first. Olivia thinks the British accent sounds like a speech impediment.
Dude, the way that's so funny, because my grandma is actually British, and I literally just I have been around a British accent, dude.
That's fair.
I literally I knew it so well that I thought she was British, but yep.
Well,
she just had a really severe speech impediment.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
Aw. Yeah. Well, this was fun.
Shout out to her.
This was fun. Happy Halloween, you guys. I hope you have a great spooky holiday. This is probably coming out like a day or two before my birthday. So that's fun. God. I'll be 25 years old, you guys.
Wall.
I'm getting really old.
Hit the wall.
I know. I'm crashing into the wall as we speak. Leonardo DiCaprio wants nothing to do with me.
Yeah. No eggs.
I'm really excited, actually. Like, I enjoy getting older and wiser. It makes me, I feel better every day I get older, which is nice.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You can feel your brain like finally maturing. So now you're an official adult.
Honestly, when I turned 24, I felt the closure happen, like the formation.
Dude,
almost
that's
complete.
You know what's crazy?
So maybe I'll have that on my 25th, You know
what's crazy? When I turned 22, I was like, I'm so mature now. I really felt like I grew as a person within that last year, and was really coming into my maturity, coming into who I was as a person. And now, as I approach 23 in a few months, it's in January. It's a few months away. I feel like after the summer I had, I'm like, I need to do some more personal growth. Like, I'm self-aware of it now. Like, maybe in the past I wouldn't have been self-aware of it. So maybe that's happens as I get older and wiser. But I know I need to do some more growth.
That is one of the signs, is that you're like, oh, I am currently doing things that I should start working on. When you start saying you want to work on yourself, it's like, oh God, I'm getting old. Yeah, but I'm excited. I really don't feel that old. I just feel like excited about the future. So either way, this was a great episode. Thank you guys for joining us. Tell us what you're going to be for Halloween in the comments, or if you think Halloween is a satanic holiday that should be banished.
Oh, goodness.
Tell us about it as well. You can follow me on Twitter at Liberty Anders. And where can we follow you, Olivia?
I am also on Twitter at Rondeau Olivia and Instagram at Rondeau.Olivia. I hope you guys have a great spooky season, Christian Girl Autumn. And just, we'll see you later.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.